All right, what is going on, Beehive? We are live. Welcome back to another live stream. Today, we have some cases that we already kind of knew about, but some things that we definitely need to talk about. We have an update with Mr. Tom Girardi. Well, not really an update, but more of the court's opinion as to why they found him competent to stand trial. And y'all, the document is long, so shout out to Kimmy for going through it for us because I would not have had time to do such things. Okay. And so she highlighted it for us so that we can touch on the relevant parts with that. So make sure y'all say thank you to Kimmy. If you are watching live or on the replay, make sure you hit the like button to help us out in the algorithm and help us get more friends because we have fun over here, right? And next, we're going to get into Lauren the Mortician's complaint along with her attorney, Jeanette. I'm going to call her Jeanette, but I remember watching a video on her, and I don't really remember which one is the right pronunciation of her name. So sorry, Miss Braun, if I'm messing up your name, but we have to cover this complaint, and I really just can't remember what is the actual way to pronounce your name. Let me know in the chat if you guys have heard of these lawsuits before, or you heard of Tom Girardi. If you're loyal to the Beehive, you have heard of Tom Girardi, but if you are, or I guess anyone, let me know if you heard of Lauren Mortician. We briefly talked about it on the last live stream, saying whether we wanted to cover it or not. This is a social media influencer, and I was like, please just tell me it's not so, because I really actually liked Lauren the Mortician's content up until she was having that feud with the car seat guy. It got a little weird, and telling him he doesn't know what he's talking about because he's a single guy, trying to make him seem like he's a creep and all of the things. So when that little and I wasn't like a follower of her or anything, but when her videos came across my feed, I did watch it. For those of you who do not know, I am a TikToker. I like TikToking and I like watching TikToks. So I would see her, and then that controversy came up, and it just got a little weird from there. And then now I'm hearing that her attorney is filing all of these copyright strikes and all of the things. And that's part of the reason why this complaint is even filed, basically claiming that they're defaming her by saying that they're putting up these false copyright strikes against her. I watched a couple of not documentaries, but YouTube videos kind of explaining the situation of what's going on in the drama feed. And this reaction to this complaint is going to be a live reaction because I haven't had time to look at it because Girardi was so long. And Kimmy also indicated that it may be more fun to do a live reaction on Lauren the Mortician. So now that we are done with that intro, guys, make sure you're dropping in the chat where you're watching from. If you're here live, let us know. And if you're watching on the replay, make sure you go ahead and drop a comment because I have been really good with my comments, and I have been really good with my shorts. Not all the way where I want to be with them, but we are consistently posting shorts. So thank you everyone for your support on that. And y'all, if you have not hit the like button, please do. Again, I have got to upgrade my little soundboard so we can get some little buzzes noise going on. Let's get the Beehive in the mood. We're going to have to get some sound. So drop some sounds that y'all want to suggest that we cover or that we have on the soundboard so I can start trying to look for those sounds so we can be a little bit more of we could be more of a production. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and jump in the chat and see who is watching live. But before we do that, we got to say hi to our pet. Y'all, what are we going to name our pet queen bee? Like, I don't know what to name her. Okay, let's go ahead and see. We have baby Meatballs. Hello and welcome into the live stream. Nice and early saying hello and dropping that bee emoji. Nice to see you tonight. Kimmy, I was about to call you Kimmy Malarkey. I was like, how does that even go together? It's Mary Malarkey. What am I doing here? But Kimmy Locker, welcome back to the live stream and also backstage. Nice to see you. She's a member of the channel, moderator of the channel. She consults me with the channel and helps us find the good old documents as our paralegal of the channel. Again, make sure y'all say thank you to Kimmy because she went through this 50 some odd page order for us. to make sure that we are getting through the order at a reasonable speed so that we can get into the mortician part of things. Okay, mortician, I don't know. I never thought I would be interested in that kind of content, but I was. Nissa Howard says, hi, I've been following the mortician case with Runkle. Okay, so Runkle's covering it. Y'all, I don't be having any time. Well, I probably would have time to be on YouTube if I wasn't always on TikTok. So sorry to the fellow legal commentators on YouTube, but I like to watch Am I the A-Holes and other nonsense that I don't need to watch on TikTok to let my brain rest. Phoenix Fire, hello and welcome into the live stream. Cheryl C saying, hey, how is everyone tonight? Hello and welcome back into the live stream. Nice to see you tonight. I'm tired. I am tired. I went to sleep late last night, woke up early today. They did some repairs on my house and all of the things. So it's been a lot going on. So I'm tired. Let Cheryl C know how y'all are doing in the chat. Be friends, be lovely. Kimmy Locker says it's pronounced Jeanette like you. Okay. But what were they calling her? I forgot what they were calling her that she didn't like it. But the defendants, oh, Janet. I knew it was something. I knew it was something. Calling her Janet intentionally. Danielle Kinney says Karen the Mortician and Janet Brown. So I'm going to take it as that some people have been following the case and they're not very much fans of the petitioners or the plaintiffs in the case. Smalls, also known as Hella Swanky, welcome back into the live stream. Nice to see you, Sam. What up? Bree Hive, what up? Nice to see you tonight. Lovely to have you back. What happened to your other channel? You're always on the Smalls channel now. Cheryl C says it's pronounced Jeanette, but she hated being called Janet and even put something snarky about it in one of the letters. So of course, most people call her Janet now. And just to be petty, are we doing it? I don't really want to be attacked by these people, y'all. I am just now trying to get more, not just now, I've been trying to get the channel off the ground, but I'm trying to get the channel off the ground and I do not want to be attacked by these people because I heard she's attacking people allegedly from the complaint and also from some cases covering the complaint. Doodle Noise, another member of the channel saying Bossy BB. Are we going to call? Oh, we can call the pet B Bossy. That would be a nice name. Bossy B. Okay, I like it. I like it. Chris Mullen says, hey, Bree and everyone. Hello, another member of the channel. Welcome in. Nice to see you this evening. Cheryl C says, Runkle has been covering this for a bit. Janet, y'all want to get me kicked off of YouTube before I can really get a start, don't you? Okay. Janet even got Ian's first ever TikTok vid taken down because it was critical of her. Ian is challenging it, of course, LOL. But the thing about TikTok, and TikTok don't come after me, TikTok is like their review board to me, in my opinion, and what I see is that it's ran by a computer. So even if you do appeal things, because I've had to appeal things that should not have ever been striked, whatever you want to call it, and they just deny it. They don't give you a reason. You can't give commentary on why you think it's wrong. So I don't know if it's the same with like copyright strikes because I haven't been copyright stricken yet. But I've been, what is it called? Community guidelines stricken when I re-upload my own videos, TikTok, not even other people's videos, but like it'll have a mess up uploading and then I upload it again and they're like, you copied this creator. I am the creator. It's me. I copied myself. So, I mean, I guess plagiarism in school, they taught you can plagiarize your own work, but shoot, it's on the same freaking channel. Like, seriously, you're gonna say that I'm copying someone's content, but no. Okay, let's not get into TikTok because I might have to file my own lawsuit. But yeah, so if he is challenging it, hopefully he's actually able to talk to someone or actually give his reasoning as to why he doesn't agree. But in my experience with TikTok, it's a robot that's just striking things down every 5 minutes. If it looks, sounds, or whatever, they generate some type of content about it. Let's see. Yeah, so I did not know that. And really, I just started hearing about this case maybe like a week or two ago, and then I've been super busy. So sorry, Runkle, for not watching your videos. I might have to catch up to do my homework. Chris Mullen, another member of the channel, saying, to be fair, Lauren, the person she's suing, was spreading rumors and being very nasty online to her, and it did cost her a couple of sponsors, but I do not agree with her calling calling in the welfare check. Oh, yeah. We're going to get into that because I was like, welfare, she canceled that girl's welfare. She was on welfare. She canceled her check. But no, that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about how they called the police saying this girl is not acting the same. She's not acting like herself. Can you please go check on her? And not only did she call a welfare check on that creator, allegedly, which we heard the recording. So is it really allegedly at this point? We don't know. I don't know. Cough, cough. Also called it on another creator as well. It's like a thing that she does. Like, you're going to stop messing with my clients or else I'm going to call and do a welfare check on you, which is odd. Essie says, hello, everyone. Hello and welcome into the live stream. Nice to see you tonight. Cheryl C says, stricken. Okay, that's the right way. Y'all know I'd be messing up words. Member of the jury, hello and welcome back into the live stream, saying I'm late on 1.5. So see you soon in real time. Yes, you're not that far behind. We've only been on for about 11 minutes at this point, so we'll see you soon. Chris Mullen says, yeah, it's hard to dispute a ruling on TikTok. They do not make it easy. It's not fun. It's not fun. We have Tanya D, our longest member of the channel, saying, hello, everyone. It's been a long week and I've only worked one day so far. That's how I feel a lot of times, y'all. I said I was tired, but I started work late, but it was still like work. You know, do you ever feel like that? Like you still had to do a lot of work even though you didn't even work the whole day? I'm just tired. So I feel it, and welcome into the live stream, Tanya. Nice to see you. Chris Mullen says, Runkle's TikTok was pretty mild compared to what I've seen. And people have been very critical, and they are also consistently getting stricken down. So that's why I'm kind of like, it's a case we need to cover, but I don't want to be like harmed for it because I'm being consistent this year. I don't want my feelings hurt by having my channel put on pause. Essie is laughing with Tanya D saying, I feel you. Cheryl C says, yeah, his TikTok was really mild. He didn't break any of the guidelines. But the thing is, the copyright strike and all of the things, they're self-reported. Like, you can literally get a band of Breehivers together and go over to TikTok and shut down Runkle's TikTok if he made one about me. So it's like self-reported. It's not really TikTok doing it unless they're saying you're violating their community guidelines by posting your own video. But we'll get past that. We'll get past it. And Kimmy was right. She said y'all was gonna like the Lauren the Mortician case. We're gonna talk about Girardi because I really do want to look at some of the reasoning we talked about a couple of weeks ago of what the court found relevant. So we're gonna kind of skip around because it's a lot to the point where I didn't even get to read the whole thing before coming on the live stream. So we'll pop around based on what Kimmy gave us. Chris Mullen says, yeah, that welfare check business was bad. Lauren should not have done that. She made a dangerous mistake and was lucky it did not go wrong. I understand she was frustrated, but that was a bad move. I thought it was the lawyer that actually made the call. Let me know. Update me. I thought it was the lawyer that made the call, but maybe it's me. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. I probably am wrong because I like watch these things on like 2x speed while I'm doing other things. So let's go ahead and jump into Girardi, and then we'll go ahead and jump into Lauren the Mortician complaint. It's not just her, but her complaint, and see what the people have to say. So let's go ahead. I gotta get some new wording. Let's see. Let's go ahead. That's boring. I don't like it. Gotta get some good slogans going on. Okay, let's jump into Mr. Tom Girardi. I am not ready or together. So we got Bossy the Bee turning up for you guys, and let's jump right into it. I don't want to be that small because, you know, it's my channel. So the document gets to be small. All right, we have Tom Girardi. Remember, he is facing criminal charges for wire fraud, and they are also seeking to basically take his stuff. He has to forfeit all of the stuff that he has acquired over the years by being allegedly fraudulent. But is it allegedly at this point? There's been a couple of bankruptcy proceedings where they are finding his law firm guilty. They're entering into bankruptcy. So is it still allegedly? Anyways, We have the United States going against Thomas Vincent Girardi. For those of you who do not know who Tom Girardi is, he is what they now like to call a disgraced, disbarred attorney from California that handled personal injury lawsuits. And I know him from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills as being the husband of Erica James, or Erica Girardi, who has since divorced him, right? Am I right about that? I believe they've gotten a divorce since this stuff has been filed, allegedly to shield her and protect her from the things that she was involved in the case. Anyways, this is the criminal case. They have several bankruptcy cases going on and some that have already been concluded. And this is the order finding the defendant competent to stand trial. If you do not remember, we did cover this case a couple of weeks ago where we talked about how he was competent to stand trial. We went through the United States motion and reasoning, and we went through the defendant's motion and reasoning, and then also the United States response to the defendant's reasoning as to why it should be denied. And the court ultimately said, you know what, we're going to go with the state side of things. We believe that he's faking it. Okay, I kind of jumped ahead there, but let's go ahead and jump into it. This matter is before the court on defendant's motion for order finding incompetency. The record on this matter is extensive and includes a 3-day evidentiary hearing, the transcript of which has been filed on the docket. Expert reports from Dr. Woods, Doctors Wood, Chu, Darby, Schroeder. That's not a cool name. I don't like that name. Goldstein, unredacted version, pre-hearing and post-hearing briefing, and extensive exhibits. Remember, they were showing videos, they were showing doctor's reports, they were showing all kinds of things that they have in this lawsuit, or not this lawsuit, this criminal trial that's moving forward at this point. So, having reviewed and considered the entire record and for the reasons set forth herein, the court finds the defendant, who is Tom Girardi, competent to stand trial and denies his motion, basically to find him incompetent. We have the charges made against him on January 31st, 2023. Attorney Tom Vincent Girardi was indicted on 5 counts of wire fraud for defrauding his client. Essentially, it's alleged that he had a scheme to defraud the defendant, the alleged scheme to defraud is that the defendant and his co-defendant unlawfully, and we forget about this other guy because I guess he's not as popular, but there's another guy on this case too, some partner of his, that the co-defendant unlawfully failed to pay to their, let's get it together, Bree. Let's get it together. Essentially, the alleged scheme to defraud is that defendant and his co-defendant unlawfully failed to pay to their client victim certain settlement funds received by defendant, now defunct law firm Girardi Keys, and that they made misrepresentations and or offered fictitious excuses as to why the settlement funds could not be distributed to the client's victim sooner. In addition to 5 criminal charges, the indictment seeks an order of forfeiture in an unspecified amount traceable to the charged offenses. Remember, that is him giving up the rights to the things that he has because he got a lot of money by stealing a lot of things, a lot of money from his clients. So, let's go. On February 6, 2023, just last year, we're almost a year to this date, defendant was arraigned, entered a plea of not guilty, and was released on bond. On March 13th of 2023, the defense counsel sought an order for a mental competency evaluation, and the court allowed for him to get the evaluation. On August 17, 2023, the defendant filed the present motion seeking an order finding him incompetent to stand trial due to the limited cognitive functioning as a result of his dementia. He's basically saying, yeah, you guys got charges against me, but we should kind of put the case on pause because I can't participate in the trial meaningfully. And remember, we talked about it, and we're going to talk about it in just a little bit. It doesn't necessarily mean that, he's mentally incapacitated, or it does mean that he's mentally incapacitated. But it doesn't necessarily mean that he has to have some type of disease or something render him mentally incompetent. But it is saying that he cannot participate in the trial meaningfully. And y'all, I forgot to close my door. So give me 1 second. We're going to go do that really quick. All right, your girl over here yelling. My husband probably like, girl, calm down. If you guys haven't already, please do hit the like button. Let's go ahead and jump into the summary of what the defense's position is. According to the court, this is the document that the court prepared for us. The defendant's position through counsel moves the court for an order to order determining that Girardi is incompetent to stand trial. Defendant argues that his cognitive decline became apparent in 2017 when a post-auto accident MRI revealed moderate brain volume loss and the presence of white matter lesions. He goes on to assert some other things, and we're going to get into why the court is not believing him. He's saying this happened back in 2017, but in short, let me just give y'all a little hint. Between 2017 and 2020, he was still doing regular stuff. The first time that anything came out about him not being mentally competent other than this MRI, which said, yeah, he has some volume loss, but he doesn't really say, oh, he has dementia or he has all these other issues. The next time he asserted anything was in 2020 when he was already in bankruptcy proceedings. Okay? But we'll get into that in just a little bit. The defendant argues that he is unable to recall and or retain case-specific information and therefore unable to assist counsel in his defense of the case. Defense counsel believes that defendant is incompetent to stand trial. And y'all, we are going to get to read the curse word that he said during trial or during his hearing. Remember, we was like, I wonder what he said. He was cussing. He cussed. Not on the stand, though. I originally thought he cussed on the stand, but we'll get into it in just a moment. Let's see. The government's position, the government, which bears the burden of proof, so they have to prove their case as to defendant's mental incompetency to stand trial, maintains that defendant is exaggerating mild cognitive deficit in an attempt to thwart the present prosecution. Namely, he is effectively feigning or exaggerating symptoms suggestive of mental incompetency, which in turn malingering by experts in their report. So he's faking it, right? The government says he's faking it. There's nothing wrong with him. All of a sudden, he has all of these mental incapacities when he was doing just fine before these charges were filed against him. The government contends that defendant's feigning began when his decades-long scheme of defrauding his clients began to unravel as the 2020 COVID-19. Oh, I can't say that on live stream. Sorry. The C-19. Yeah, pandemic drastically slowed the incoming cash flow of Girardi. And we have to remember what Girardi is being accused of here. They are literally saying he was robbing Peter to pay Paul. As he was getting money in, he was paying off lawsuits from years back, right? Years back, even though he was getting money from the most recent incidences. And what this case is mainly pointing out are those airplane crashes. The Lion Air crash that occurred a couple of years ago, a little bit before this case was brought, of course, because that's what they sued him for with bankruptcy. So he was constantly robbing Peter to pay Paul, but when the panini happened, he did not have any more money to rob from Peter. So the client started recognizing, hey, I'm not getting my money. He told me I would have it in 6 months, but the panini said, no, you're not going to get any money right now because the panini is going on. Your attorneys have to work from home. You can't be in the office. You can't go into court. Everything's on Zoom. We can't give you any money. And Girardi their scheme got founded out. Okay. They found out what was going on. Let's go ahead and take a peek into the legal standard of the case. The criminal defendants must be mentally competent to be tried. The due process clause of the Fifth Amendment demands that a mentally incompetent person cannot be tried in a criminal case. What is the law behind it? The competence to stand trial includes the right to effective assistance of counsel, the right to summon, to confront, and to cross-examine witnesses, and the right to testify on one's own behalf or to remain silent without penalty for doing so. But let's be honest. When somebody says they plead the fifth, do we or do we not believe they did it? Let me know what y'all think, because people are always pleading the fifth, but as soon although it is supposed to be a protection, as soon as someone pleads the fifth to me, I say immediately they did it. As a lawyer, I'm not supposed to do that, nor am I supposed to encourage that. But immediately, if someone goes, I plead the fifth, you're guilty. And I can't help but think that the jurors think the same thing. So let me know in the chat if you guys think whenever someone pleads the fifth, they're guilty. Because I do. I do. It's not right. You're not supposed to do that. But, you know, it's human nature. Let me know what y'all think. Okay, let me jump into the lawsuit. The mental incompetency is now statutorily defined. An accused may not be tried if he is presently suffering. Why did they have to say he? If he is presently suffering from a mental disease or defect, rendering him mentally incompetent to the extent that he is unable to understand the nature and consequences of the proceedings against him, or to assist properly in his defense. The district court cannot find defendant competent merely because he or she is oriented to time and place and has some recollection of events. So just because he believes that, or just because he remembers that he is being criminally charged with these things, does not necessarily mean that he's competent. But the fact that he was able to explain how he was going to defend against this and that he didn't do it, and his lawyers were going to be able to show that he didn't do these things, that will render him legally competent, right? If he just says, oh yeah, they're charging me with the charges, but I don't really know why, that's different. He didn't play up his illness good enough. Competence consists of more than merely passively observing the proceedings, which we're going to get into. It looks like he tried to merely just observe, but he couldn't help as a trial lawyer to make comments during the proceedings. So yeah, that sucks. It requires the mental acuity to see, hear, and digest the evidence, and the ability to communicate with counsel in helping prepare for an effective defense. The test is whether the defendant has sufficient present ability to consult with his lawyer with a reasonable degree of rational understanding, and whether he has a rational for as well as factual understanding of the proceedings against him. Thus, simple understanding of the surface facts of the legal proceeding is not adequate to meet the standard possessing the rationale of factual understanding of the proceedings. Instead, the defendant must have an ability to draw rational conclusions. And let's remember, he is a trial attorney. Although it not be a criminal trial attorney, he does have experience in being in court. So he's gonna, whether he has dementia or not, well, I don't know. Well, let me not start giving medical conclusions. In my opinion, whether he has dementia or not, he's going to be a lot more familiar with being in the court and understand what's going on than, let's say, someone who is not legally trained, who's not an attorney, who's not a paralegal, who has no idea what's going on, right? But so that kind of puts him down. So even if he does have these mental incapacities, he's probably still going to understand the proceedings a lot more than someone who never stepped a foot in the court, right? Nevertheless, the presence of mental deficiencies does not necessarily render defendants incompetent. They have found that people with many mental disabilities have been found competent to stand trial, including defendants with dementia, which is what he is claiming that he has. He's claiming that he has dementia. The court is having this hearing based on their own motion. That's just what the procedure is. The burden of proof is on the government to find that the defendant is competent to stand trial. And that is a question of fact for the court basically to determine. Sometime, I mean, if there's a jury, then the jury would determine it, right? The government bears the burden of proving this fact by a preponderance of the evidence. Remember, we talked about that in the last live stream. It's literally just putting a little feather on the scale and seeing whether the court believes them or not. Evidence regarding the defendant's competency, they're going to talk about these are the things that they considered to determine these are the things that were presented during the hearing to determine whether he is competent to stand trial. They considered the 2017 motor vehicle accident. Remember, this is the first incident where he had the MRI, where it said that he had something going on with his brain. Maybe not to the effect of having dementia, but they did say that there was some matter loss or something something like that. They also said he had a concussion within days of having that event, or within having the accident. In 2019, he's getting old. He fell down and hit his head. And I could be being ableist, whatever you want to call it, but it just, for me, it's hard to believe, not hard to believe, but it's hard to imagine that I could fall down and immediately hit my head. But I mean, I guess it's possible. It just makes me not excited to be old, because I feel like, or I don't feel like, it's probably a known thing that old people are more subject to falling down. And I'm just not ready for that. Okay. I don't want to fall down and hit my head. And not to make light of the situation, but this is the Bree Hive. We try to make things not as serious, but I'm not excited to be old, because I feel like I'm going to be the old person like Tom Girardi that is falling down. Hopefully I don't hit my head constantly like he does, but he falls down. Anyways, he fell down, he hit his head, he had another brain scan or something, in which the court found that he was not, or not the court, the medical examiner found that he was not, that there was, his memory was normal. He was not really forgetful, and he had normal insight and judgment. So again, he fell down and hit his head, but in 2019, there was no indication that people should start to be concerned with his ability to really determine things. In 2020, communication from the defendant to his client, co-counsel, and employees. My boy wrote several intelligently worded letters during 2020, which, remember, he's supposed to be suffering or gaining this mental incompetency from 2017 to 2020. But yet in 2020, he's writing letters telling people that, hey, I can only give you 50% of your money. Hey, your check is a little bit delayed, talking to the bankruptcy courts, being all fine and dandy, not really showing any issue with his memory. So he was writing letters, basically just continuing to be a regular attorney while claiming that he had dementia now that he's in court. Was he claiming it during the time that he was writing these letters to these clients saying, I have dementia, but I cannot give you your money? No, he was just writing saying, I cannot give you your money. He fully understood what he was doing in his job. I mean, I guess he can lie and say he's not the one that wrote the letter. The paralegal wrote the letter and he just signed it. But hey, you're still responsible for your work as an attorney, whether you have the paralegal type it up or not, right? They considered the videotape presentations from late September through November 2020. Tom Girardi was basically being a kind of a speaker at a continuing legal education program. He did some other thing, 90-minute long continuing education program. And then I think he also did some other type of thing where he was on a panel talking about the law and clearly having no issue between September 2020 and November 2020. Remember, this is supposed to be the time where he has dementia. And basically he talked competently. He wasn't forgetting things. He wasn't, slurring his speech or anything like that. He seemed pretty normal according to what the court and the documents say. And then we have December 2020 events related to the Lion Air flight crash and the case. He basically continued to work. He continued to go to court. He continued to show up. He continued to defend his clients. The petition to appoint conservatorship filed in January 2021. In December 2020 was the first time in court proceedings, at least, that Girardi basically stated there was some issue with his mental capacity. He made a statement during a bankruptcy hearing in December 2020 that he has dementia and that he has some memory loss and he can't remember things. And then immediately following, his brother then files an action to be appointed as his conservatorship. The bankruptcy cases are already going on. You already had these issues allegedly since 2017. Why are we only filing for a conservatorship after you're being found liable for bankruptcy in the bankruptcy courts and you have several bankruptcy things going on? Okay. Let me see. And then he started going to the doctors and being observed, and the conservatorship was granted by July 9th, 2021. He also had a break-in his Pasadena residence where he started forgetting certain things, couldn't recall certain names, but he was able to walk the police through his house to show them kind of what happened, but they couldn't really remember. He couldn't really remember names, which is, in my opinion, is not that odd, and could also fall into, guess what? He was applying for a conservatorship on what, January 21st? And then all of a sudden on January 23, there's this break-in, and y'all know, I don't believe celebrities and all these rich, fancy people, all of a sudden when something's going, they're rich and they're getting in trouble, all of a sudden there's a break-in and people are stealing things from them. Stealing things, in my opinion, quotation marks, from them. So I don't believe none of that. I could see this as being part of his act to be incompetent. Let me know what y'all think about the robbery in 2021, and do you think it was part of his overall scheme in finding him incompetent, trying to show he doesn't remember anything by being recorded by police, acting like he doesn't remember things? July 31st of 2021, on or about defendant again fell, which again, I am not excited to be old. I don't want to fall down. The hospital report noted defendant gave a history indicating that his mother was alive again. This is around the time that the conservatorship was granted. What was that, July 9th? It was granted. And all of a sudden he's going there and saying things that are not true, right? Saying that he's still working in the law firm, but his law firm was already shut down. All of the things, right? Defendant was unhappy with his treatment team's recommendation that he move to an assisted living facility. This recommendation was apparently implemented, and defendants moved into an assisted living at Belmont Village. They said he had poor short-term memory, noted as not remembering the reason for his hospitalization and forgetting that he was not ready to be discharged after being told repeatedly. So he was trying to stay in the hospital even though they were saying that he was okay. Post-hoc accounts of defendant's cognitive decline. They had people coming in like his brother, his daughter. There were no contemporaneous anecdotal. Yeah, that's right. There was no contemporaneous anecdotal reports, text messages, emails, letters of defendants' alleged cognitive decline from 2011 through the end of 2017 through the end of 2020. The first of such anecdotal reports were made to defendant's lawyer and or experts related to the conservatorship proceedings in 2021. Again, remember, after the bankruptcy had already gone through for one of his cases. They had entered into bankruptcy, right? And so they talked to his daughter, they talked to his maid or something like that. And they were saying, oh yeah, he was forgetful here and there and things like that. The first medical notation suggesting cognitive decline was around the time the conservatorship was initiated in late February 2021. After speaking with defense experts involved in the conservatorship proceedings, Dr. Patrick, who had made contemporaneous notes in 2019, stating that defendant's memory was normal. Defendant's memory was normal, made entry in his notes respectively, noting a cognitive decline. So in 2019, he was normal, and then by February 2021, he's noting ever since his motor vehicle accident. I didn't read this part. I skipped over this part. Ever since his motor vehicle accident. But in 2019, he said he was normal. And the motor vehicle accident was in 2017. Okay, let's see what he has to say. Let's see what he has to say. Ever since his motor vehicle accident, where he went off the cliff in 2017, fracturing his ankle and having head trauma, he has not been the same. You just said he was normal in 2019. There has been a marked change in his cognitive, often repeating stories, talking about the past and focusing on past accomplishments. Over the last 2 years, socially, his gait became slightly impaired, more shoveling, and seemed to get occasionally confused when out in public. Dr. Packerick saw defendant the same day he made that note and added for the first time in his office notes that defendant had impaired memory and poor insight and judgment. So he didn't say all of those things when he first evaluated him, which would have been 2 years after the motor vehicle accident. So wouldn't he already have notes like, yeah, I saw him in 2019 and he was also having issues then? No, my boy didn't say that. He said he was normal in 2019 and now he's saying there's something wrong with him. They also considered the reports retained by the experts. We have Helena Cheng Chu, the neurologist. We're not gonna I guess we can kind of see these ones. Dr. Chu was not asked to opine on defendant's mental competency. Rather, she was asked to evaluate the president's etiology of defendant's dementia, its progression and severity, and defendant's prognosis. Basically said that he had dementia, which doesn't really help because they're asking you what is your cognitive, your cognitive issues. And then we're going to kind of speed through this because it's a lot of medical stuff. They considered Dr. Ryan Schroner's neuropsychologist report. They reviewed the MRIs and things like that. As to the three reports, Dr. Schroeder rejected the notion that defendant's test performance showed evidence of exaggeration or malingering. Remember, this is defendant's witness, stating as to each, he does not see clear psychometric evidence of exaggeration or cognitive dysfunction or malingering. The government experts Diana Goldstein said she conducted a psychological and neurocognitive evaluation of the defendant. She observed defendant's confabulation was solely on topics of his legal, financial, and vocational status, all of which are related. In contrast to these confabulations, what does confabulation mean? Defendant revealed accurate recall of events caused by C19 Panini and adversely affected law firms focused on litigation. So he was able to say who was affected by the Panini and who went down and who's not making money, but he doesn't have a clue what's going on with his criminal proceedings. Sounds a bit sketchy, but I digress. Let's jump down. Dr. Goldstein expressed the opinion that as of early 2021, defendant was not experiencing dementia. Instead, evidence she detailed pointed to less severe diagnosis of mild cognitive impairment, also referred to mild neurocognitive disorder. So not that he has dementia, but his cognitive impairment, it's there, but it's not to the extent of dementia. Ultimately, Dr. Goldstein opined that defendant is partially malingering, meaning that he engages in intentional exaggeration of his bona fide condition and minor cognitive impairment. Okay, we go on. They went through Dr. Ryan Darby. He's a neurologist with specialization in behavioral neurology and neuropsychiatry. He reviewed a number of records related to the defendant's competency to stand trial, including the reports of Dr. Chu, Wood, and Goldstein, and issued a report dated July 17, 2023. He interviewed him over a course of 3 days. For several reasons, Dr. Darby concluded that defendant was malingering or exaggerating the severity of his memory impairment. First, rapidity of apparent decline is inconsistent with normal progression of the diagnosis order. Dr. Darby opined that although a diagnosis of mild cognitive impairment could be supported in December 2020, such a diagnosis would not explain any rapid drop in cognitive function. Second, Dr. Darby observed defendant's inability to remember was selective and to his benefit. Same thing that Goldstein said, it only has to do with the things he don't want to talk about. It only has to do with this case, but he can remember everything else just fine. Third, Dr. Darby found defendant's pattern of confabulations to be atypical and non-credible. Confabulations as noted previously, and as Dr. Darby explains, are beliefs of persons with genuine memory impairment that are used to fill gaps in memory with explanations that are not accurate or true. According to Dr. Darby, defendant expresses many confabulations, including he still lives in his home, continues to work at Girardi Keys, was not named in the civil lawsuit with criminal implications, but he can name everybody else that was in there. Other confabulations relate to statements regarding historical events, such as identity of presidents and details regarding major wars. So he's purposely not remembering these things. We are going to skip because we still got a whole nother case to get to. Okay. And then his caregiver testified saying that he was like wearing socks more often, or the same pair of socks more often, bringing weird things home from the office. So they're saying he's not that good. Now we're going to get into his demeanor during the competency hearing, where we get to talk about what cuss words he spewed while in the hearing. So defendant's demeanor at the competency hearing, with one exception discussed below, defendant sat quietly at the defense table during the course of the 3-day hearing. One notable event occurred when the prosecutor asked Dr. Wood whether she would consider a particular fact relevant to the examinee's competency. At the moment before Dr. Wood answered, the prosecutor asked the court to note that defendant said to him in a lowered voice, what did he say? You. He said F you. And also noted that the defense counsel didn't object. He was like, yeah, he said F you. He said, stop asking if that's relevant. But it could have been an outburst, right? It could have been an outburst. Defendant is competent to stand trial. This is the court's finding. Weighing all of the evidence before the court and considering many arguments offered by counsel, the court concludes that although defendant suffers from a mild to moderate cognitive impairment, so they do believe that he has a declining ability to basically participate, he is competent to stand trial under relevant legal standards. In short, having reviewed the evidence related to defendant's brain scans, his testing results, his anecdotal accounts of his ability, his presentation at clinical interviews, and importantly, the timeline of the progression of the asserted cognitive decline, the court finds persuasive the government expert's conclusion that defendant is exaggerating his symptoms and partially malingering. So they're not saying he's lying all the way, but he's partially lying. As a result, and as explained further below, the court concludes that defendant is able to understand the nature and consequences of the proceedings against him. Let's go into a little bit of... No, we're not going to go into that. We talked about that at the other one. So there's plenty of it left, but we have other things to move on to, so we're not going to go through everything. But the court basically said, in light of all of the evidence that we just reviewed on this channel too, he's lying. He's lying. Sure, there's probably something a little bit wrong with him, but it's not to the point where he cannot participate in the court proceedings against him. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and we're gonna go ahead and stop saying that, Bree. We're gonna jump into the comments. If you have not already, please do hit the like button, because for reasons I'm gonna figure out later. Because I don't want to keep saying it helps us out in the algorithm. I watch other YouTubers say that, and it's not cool to say, you know? I need something cooler to say. All right, let's go ahead. Oh, no, don't start that. Okay. Chats. Cardova82, hello and welcome into the live stream, saying good evening to our beautiful queen and the Bree Hive. Sorry for being late. That's okay. We are happy to have you here. We have Emma saying almost always a thought I think the same, talking about the Fifth Amendment. As soon as you say, I plead the Fifth, we know you did it. We know you're guilty. Not supposed to be, but we know it. Kimmy Lockett says, I don't automatically assume pleading the Fifth implies guilty, and I'm big on innocent until proven guilty, but in this case, I think they did it. Yeah, which I don't think... My thing is, I don't think not testifying on the stand is, well, I guess that is pleading the Fifth. No, you could just not call yourself as a witness, I guess. Well, I guess you have to, I'm not a criminal attorney, so I don't know the procedures of if you actually have to invoke the Fifth. But like, if I'm looking at a police, and I guess I'm not talking about in trial then. When I'm looking at a police interview and they go, I plead the Fifth, or I want an attorney, which I always say, ask for an attorney. Even if you didn't do it, ask for an attorney. I'm like, all right, they did it. But no, I get it. I agree with you, Kimmy. Small says, don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't already. Yes, of course. Thank you for the reminder. Cheryl C says, my dad is relatively healthy and in his 70s, but he has fallen and hit his head twice. I'm not excited for that. Just getting old is just... and you don't really have control over it. And sometimes, like, I hurt my ankle and almost fall down the stairs probably once a week. But at some point, I'm going to lose that balance and I'm going to start falling down the stairs. And that is scary. Tiny D says the elderly fall more often for many reasons, including failing eyesight. Oh gosh, I'm gonna be horrible then. Causing spatial awareness. Again, I'm bad at that. Unsteady gait, numbness in limbs due to health issues. Yeah, getting old sucks. Yeah, that's what I feel like. I already have bad vision. I already have bad depth perception. And my ankle gives out like once or twice a week. If you guys don't remember, I injured both of my feet last year, both feet, potential fractures, but they said I didn't have a fracture. So yeah, my ankle gives out on me several times, at least once a week while I'm going down the stairs. It's not fun. So I can only imagine what it's going to be like when I get old. Kimmy Locker says to Tanya D, yeah, Girardi's vision is mentioned in the suit. I didn't get into that because we're running late on the live stream. Small says falling in old age is the absolute worst. I believe it, and I don't want to be a part of it, but it's okay to be a part of it because at least you're living to an old age, right? Chris Mullen says that is very sus. Are we talking about the break into the house? Tiny says confabulation is a neuropsychiatric disorder wherein a patient generates a false memory without the intention of deceit. And basically what happened in this case, thank you for the definition, Tanya. Basically what happened in this case is they felt like his confabulations were purposeful, right? Kimmy Lockett says, I think it's safe to say that telling the prosecutor F you in court is an outburst in one form or another. It is an outburst. Is it like an outburst caused by the mental impairment, or is it an outburst because you're irritated as a trial lawyer of what this attorney is asking? He wants to call out an objection, but it's his attorney's not calling out the objections he wants to call out. I don't know. I kind of feel like it could be either one. What do y'all think? I feel like it could be either one. I could see how like a mental impairment, like he's just zoned out and somebody's talking to him in his head. Now I'm giving him a whole other diagnosis, which I don't mean to do, but maybe something's going on in his head. He's like, F you, bro. Like, off topic here. And Alpha doesn't understand. My husband doesn't understand. Whenever I see people on the street who most often are homeless and they're talking to themselves, and not just talking to themselves, they're yelling, because they have people in their head talking to them or voices in their head talking to them. I try my best to walk the quickest past them because my worst fear, and I don't know if this is politically correct or not, but my worst fear is someone who's going through an episode where people are talking to their head, whether it's schizophrenia or whatever mental incapacity is going on with them. Whatever it is, I would hate for me to look like the person that they're talking mess with, and then they beat me up. Like, that's one of my worst fears. That's one of my worst fears, was walking through the street and I see someone having a whole argument with themselves. I don't want them to beat me up. I don't want them to be like, F you, Sally, and then all of a sudden I'm Sally and now I'm getting beat up because whatever Sally said to this person in his head is now being reflected on me. And my husband, he just doesn't understand it, maybe because he's in mental health and maybe people don't look like the people that's talking to them. I don't know. But that's like one of my worst fears, is getting beat up when the beating up is not really for me. If you just want to fight me because you want to fight me, that's fine. But I don't want to get beat up because Sally said something crazy to you in your head. I don't know. Let me know if you has that ever come across anybody's head? I don't know. It comes across my head every time I see it, because my school for law school was downtown San Diego, and there was a lot of homeless people, and there was a lot of people yelling at invisible people in their head or invisible people on the street. And I just thought I was going to catch that fade because Sally did something, right? And I did not want to be Sally that day. I named her Sally. I don't know. But yeah, he could have easily been saying F you to someone in his head or for other reasons, but the court seemed to have interpreted as he's saying F you based on the question that that was being asked and that he understood the question that was being asked, which the response to F you to that particular question to me, like, would that be relevant? F you, it kind of sounds more like an outburst not related to the proceedings for me, but I could be wrong. I could completely be wrong. Okay. Chris Mullen says Tom Girardi needs to face the music. He destroyed a lot of lives. Yeah, that is true. I hope that he goes to prison for a very long time. And at this point, he's having to go to trial. Now, what can happen is he can then file an appeal, which will then delay trial. And then he's potentially going to be asked to be found incompetent again, because time has gone by and the progression of his disease is getting worse, right? But the court always also found suspicious. All of a sudden, he's been having these impairments since 2017, and he was working just fine in 2020. And as soon as all of these lawsuits came, now all of a sudden he declined rapidly. Not saying it's impossible, but with what he's claiming, they're saying it's not consistent with the pattern, right? I don't know if it is possible. Doodle Noise says, I like that name, says, I think they're trying to hide something as far as Girardi. I wouldn't be surprised with that. Emma says, that's already me as well. Just turned 28 this week as far as your ankles giving out and bumping into walls and not being very balanced. Yeah. Tiger D says, well, happy belated birthday to Emma. Yes, of course. Yes, I forgot to say that. Happy birthday. Kimmy Lockett says, woo, happy belated birthday to Emma. Everybody giving the special shout outs for the birthday. Chris Mullen saying happy birthday. Chris Mullen saying, oh, I cannot remember what I was responding to now. Oh, it's okay. It is okay. That happens. It happens to the best. It happens to me all the time while live. Chris Mullen says, I thought something you read that happened in court was a bit suspect. Oh, I remember. Tom Girardi suddenly claiming to be incompetent. Yeah, they're saying that his claim for being incompetent was just like super fast. Like all of a sudden the bankruptcy went through. Next month, he's filing for a conservatorship. But he was just sending out letters. He was just performing on stages. He was just doing what I'm doing right now, but on like legitimate panels where people think he's the expert. Talking fine. I probably mess up more on this live stream than he messed up in his CLE classes and his panels of being a legal expert. I stutter, can't read, can't remember what we're talking about half the time. And he probably did better than me. And he was 70 something at the point, and I'm not 70 something, right? So yeah, it was a claim. It was quick. He did the right processes, though, in my opinion. He went conservatorship, and then now it doesn't look like all sporadic and crazy, right? It looks like something normal. Oh, no, he really does have these issues because, look, he has a conservatorship. But all while the bankruptcy went through, he had to go into bankruptcy, and knowing that these criminal charges are coming, him as a skilled attorney, I think he took the right legal steps on purpose. An attorney has an attorney to tell him how to attorney it, okay? To tell him how to get out of trouble. So, yeah, I think his claim for needing a conservatorship, the fact that he only forgot things relating to his liability or his guiltiness in the lawsuit, but he could remember everybody else that was listed, but he couldn't remember himself. Oh, no, I wasn't listed, but Bob, Frank, Peter, and Paul, who I was robbing and paying. Yeah, all of them were in the lawsuit, but not me, because I didn't do anything wrong. You know? So it was a good run. It was a good try, right? Emma saying thank you to Tanya D. Yeah, I don't think you have to worry about that one. Mostly not violent, but they do have a lot of violence done to them on average. And that's why I don't want to catch the brunt of it, you know? And that's what my husband says too. They're not good. They don't even really see you, I guess. But I would hate for them to see me that day and I'm the one that really pissed them off. Like, what if I look like Sally? Like, seriously. Have you ever thought about it? Doodle Noise says, people claiming the fifth, I assume they are hiding something. Yeah, that's me. We're not supposed to do it, and I wouldn't do, well, they would probably never have me on a jury, but I wouldn't hold it against them. For not testifying, I would not hold that against them because you're just not calling yourself as a witness. I understand that. But as soon as you say I plead the fifth, especially just on the street. If I ask you something, you say I plead the fifth, I'm like, okay, you did whatever I'm asking you about. Tanya D says, I think his outburst was to the judge, but older people have less inner dialogue and don't really care as much. Yeah, that's probably, I'm thinking it could have had something to do with something way different than the actual proceedings, in my opinion. Wait, was it to the judge? I thought it was to the question the prosecutor asked. Let me go back to it. FU, where's FU? Okay. Specifically, the prosecutor asked Dr. Wood if she would find significant that the examinee was able to successfully keep secrets of the fact of a multi-million-dollar fraud. At that moment, before Dr. Wood could answer, the prosecutor asked the court to note that defendant had said to him in a lower voice, FU. So it was the prosecutor that he was talking to, because his attorney probably should have objected and said relevance or something, or speculation, really. Would it be significant to examine if he was able to hide a fraud? Speculation. Something. I can't think of good objections right now, but maybe his attorney should have objected at that moment. Doodle Noise agrees with Tanya D and old people not having that internal dialogue. I don't want that either. I like my internal dialogue. Did y'all know some people claim to not have internal dialogue? I don't know how that works. Like, do you not think, or do you just like think in pictures? I don't know. Let me know. Let me know, because I did not think that was a thing. Emma saying, y'all are so sweet for all of the birthday wishes. Chris Mullen says to Doodle Noise, yes, the prosecutors really rely on that aspect when it comes to the juries as well. Don't know exactly what you guys are talking about. I can't remember. Guys, I'm gonna have to get an incompetency evaluation. Emma said, Emma, get it together, Bree. You got a whole case to go through. Emma says, intentionally or inadvertently, either one feels reasonable. Yeah, I agree. I feel like I could say F you too. You saying I'm doing $1 million fraud? F you, bro. But again, that indicates that he understands what's going on with the proceedings. Chris Mullen says Girardi is just as bad as Murdaugh, the murders aside that we know of. Allegedly, quotations, just talking mess, speculations. Don't quote me on that, y'all. Tanya D says he really is to Chris as far as being just as bad as Murdaugh, who is trying to get another trial, y'all. Are we going to have to go through it again? Are we going to have to go through all of this evidence again? Was it not hard enough on the witnesses, but also the court clerk? Why are you saying all of that stuff? Are we going to be able to prove that she said it, or he, or whoever? I think it was a lady. But are we going to be able to prove it? I don't know. I don't want people to have to go through that again. Tiny D says, you're right to be on guard, but generally people who have hallucinations have a specific vision of a person in their mind. So if you don't stop and have a conversation, I guess they won't get me. But what if I just look like them? And what if their beef, Tanya? I know Tanya is in mental health. What if their beef with me, Sally, is that I'm not responding to them? Could they then beat me up? I feel like they would. No, let me get out of this topic. Kimmy Lockett says the doc said the prosecutor asked the court to note that defendant had said to him in a lowered voice, F you. Yes. That he said it. I'm reading it as he said it to the prosecutor, right? Am I reading it wrong? Tidy says, well, whoever it was. Right. He said it to somebody in the court. Kimmy Lockett says, I think the fact he not only said it to the prosecutor, but said it in a lowered voice shows he knew darn well that he was saying, or what he was saying and doing. Possibly. Yeah. It shows understanding, I think so. Especially to that specific question. It makes him a little guilty other than just having a random outburst. Okay, I'll give it to you. I tried to give him some leeway. But the chat does not want Girardi to have leeway. Okay. Chris Mullen says it was about pleading the fifth and not testifying. I believe I already forgot again. Y'all know I'm gonna have to get me one of these evaluations done. And I always tell my husband I have like diminishing memory. I don't even know what you would call it, but I find myself like starting to stutter a lot. Well, I stuttered as a kid too, which I learned in school that means that you think faster than you talk, and that's the issue. But just like pronouncing, I'm all giving y'all my diagnosis on live stream, but like I forget what I'm saying a lot of times. So and as you guys can see, I mispronounce things, can't read it, can't put the syllables together. Don't know what's wrong with me, but I feel like I'm on the verge of needing the evaluation too. Tiny says, bottom line, he was trying to get out of being prosecuted. He is trash. I agree. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. Doodle Noise says, I'm deaf. When I crank up my hearing aids, I scare myself when I realize that I talk to myself out loud. I thought it was my inner dialogue, but I just couldn't hear myself. That is so interesting. I'm sorry that you're scaring yourself. I'm sorry. Oh, the name makes sense. The Doodle Noise. I'm sorry that you're scaring yourself, but that is funny that you thought you had an inner dialogue, but it's you just talking and you probably feel like the vibrations of your voice. That's interesting. Kimmy Locker says, yeah, I'm reading it as being said to the prosecutor. Yeah, I think so. And Cheryl C says, I love the judge that is reviewing the Murdaugh stuff. She is taking absolutely no stuff from those attorneys. That's good. I haven't looked into it. I probably need to jump back on it, but life is just so busy. I need to stop working a 9 to 5, but YouTube does not pay my bills, so I have to work my 9 to 5. Chris Mola says, true that we know of. Murders wise, LOL. We don't know. We really don't know. Those have not been brought up. Chris Mullen or Kimmy Lockett says to Chris Mullen, I mean, he did have heck of police connections. Yeah. Oh, let's not get into it, y'all. Smalls says, and also known as Hella Swingy says, happy belated birthday to Emma. Yes, of course, with the birthday wishes. Chris Mullen says, Bree, cracking up. I don't even know what I said. I have issues. Tanya D says, OMG, Cheryl C. She was on point and not here for the shenanigans. Cheryl C says, when I'm tired or distracted, I will completely forget what I was talking about or what point I was trying to make. Yeah. That's me all day at these points. I don't know what's going on in my brain, but it can't be good. I don't know what it is, but it cannot be good. And I probably should get an evaluation while I'm over here joking around. Okay, let's go ahead and see where we are at with the likes. We are at 29 likes. Good job, chat. We are 1 like away from hitting our stream goal, which it used to be 50, but now it's 30. 1 like away from hitting the stream goal. So if you have not hit the like button, please do and help us out don't help us out in the algorithm to show support for the Brick Hive. Is that better? I think that's a little cuter. We really appreciate the support over here. Let's go ahead. We had a couple. See what I'm talking about, y'all? I mean, it's probably because I'm tired right now. I am really tired right now. But yes, what was I talking about? We're getting better at things to say on the lives. Anyways, let's get our life together. We're going on to the case we've all been waiting to hear. All right, we have the Lauren the Mortician. I don't know why I said the Lauren. Lauren the Mortician lawsuit. For those of you who do not know who Lauren the Mortician is, she is a TikToker. Is she on YouTube too? I think she might be on YouTube too, but I know her from being a TikToker who posts about things that can make you end up in the morgue because she's a mortician. And she has an attorney called Jeanette Braun, or also known as Janet Brown, apparently. Who is a lawyer for many TikTokers and social media influencers. And I'm just like, how does she even get into that space to start being the attorney for those people? Now, not to be rude or anything, I would have assumed the attorney for all these TikTokers would be a little bit younger and more into like the social media, but I guess there's people that are on social media that are making themselves known, or not making themselves known and getting a good following on social media. Like, I could see Emily D. Baker being the attorney for these influencers because she's cool. I don't know Jeanette like that. I don't know her like that. But Emily D. Baker as the influencer's attorney, I think would be a lot better because I'm sure she wouldn't allegedly be doing copyright strikes, right? but she's cool. I could see her as being the attorney because she did like business stuff. I don't know if she was all the way like into IP and things like that, but I think that she would have been a cool attorney. No hate to you, Jeanette. I don't know you like that. I'm already starting off on a bad foot. I'm starting off on a bad foot. If you don't want to get messed up by these people, why are you saying all of that stuff, Brie? I don't know. Look at me talking about people that talk to themselves, and now it's me. Now I want to fight me. Yes, so I could see someone like that, or maybe like Natalie Lawyer Chick. Maybe she can be the attorney. You know, some other people in our legal community, like Runkle of the Bailey. You know, maybe even Hogue. He worked for the not Hogue. No, it wasn't Hogue. Why did I just mix them up? Kurt. He worked for the USPTO. Maybe he could have been their lawyer, but her, maybe it's because I just don't know her. She made her name on TikTok. So, anyways, she has a bunch of influencer clients who she represents and who allegedly she's putting up copyright strikes on. She say it's not her, but people are saying it is her. So let's go ahead and jump into the case and see what's going on here. We have Jeanette Braun and Braun IP Law LLC. Why is it an LLC? I mean, it's a different state. We cannot have LLCs as law firms in California, but you know, to each their own. And Lauren Propson, cool name. Versus Rebecca M. Daney Box, Casey, the owner and operator of the online social media account at Caffeinated Kitty, Lily Martson, and Jessica Vasquez. Why did Casey, the owner and operator of online, okay, they don't know her name or something. They could have looked that up. But anyways, this is a complaint and demand for a jury trial where Jeanette is suing all of those people along with her, one of her clients. Nature of the case. This is a diversity action asserting Illinois. Oh, let's see what court it's in. We are in the Northern District of Illinois in the Eastern Division. So this is in the district courts, not in the state courts. And they're saying this is a diversity action asserting Illinois state law claims for defamation per se, trade libel, false light, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and torturous interference with business interests because of defendant's publication and dissemination of slanderous and defamatory statements regarding plaintiffs that were false, harmful, and offensive. Boo freaking who. But no, you do have a right to file defamation cases if people are defaming you, right? I just, you know, I've heard a little bit of things about the cases and I'm just not feeling sorry right now. I'm just not feeling sorry for them right now, but we're going to get into it. Why are they saying this is a diversity action? Does this mean that it's black, white, Hispanic, and all kinds of people in this action? No, they're basically saying that this case needs to be handled in the district court because there are different people in different states who may not have necessarily asserted themselves into the state of Illinois, and the claim is for more than $75,000. So we need it to be in district court versus in state court because basically the state court wouldn't have jurisdiction over certain influencers or defendants if they were not in Illinois or asserted themselves into Illinois. Yes, there could be some Illinois. Why am I saying Illinois? Illinois, right? Not, you don't pronounce the S. But there's some argument that they could have asserted themselves by like arguing with them or whatever it may be. But since there's multiple people in the action that are likely from different states, they're going to have it in the district courts rather than the state court to avoid issues of lack of personal jurisdiction of people. So Jeanette is in Illinois in DuPage County. Her law firm is also there. Plaintiff Lauren Propson is a citizen of the state of Wisconsin, so she's not even a citizen of Illinois. So yes, it needs to be in district court. Upon information and belief, defendant Rebecca Day is a citizen of the state of Missouri. Defendant KC is a citizen of Georgia. Defendant Jessica Vasquez is a resident of the state. What? is a citizen and resident of a state that is neither Illinois nor Florida. Upon information of belief, defendant Vasquez is a victim of certain crimes, and out of respect for her privacy, plaintiff requests not to directly. That's interesting. That's nice of them, although they're bringing this action. Upon information and belief, Lily Martin is a citizen and resident of the state of California. They are bringing it in what I just explained. It exceeds 75,000 and people are from different states. So they're asking for it to be in the district court. Let's go ahead and jump. And y'all, let me know in the comments. Did I do my B? I think I did do Bossy the Bee. I just ran with the name Bossy the Bee. Only one person gave me a suggestion and I like it. So if you guys don't like Bossy the Bee, it's too late. Bossy the Queen Bee. It's too late if you did not agree. It's too late to speak up now. We're married to Bossy the Bee. Okay. So let's jump into the background of the case. Let me know in the comment section if y'all have heard of this case. What are your initial thoughts? I see comments being starred, so I'm thinking that the chat has some thoughts. We're going to get into it. The first set of defamatory statements against plaintiff Lauren Propson, aka Lauren the Mortician, by defendant Casey, aka, which is there's a typo, Miss Janae. Are you the one being the attorney for you guys? I did not go all the way to the end, but we will see if she is attorneying for herself. Probably not, because IP is mostly like transactional. You're not really going into court. I mean, you can be an IP lawyer that goes into court, but for defamation, probably wouldn't be competent to represent them in this kind of case as a IP lawyer, which is like intellectual property. And it says PKA, and I thought it was a typo, but it's in there twice, so maybe it's not a typo. Do y'all know what PKA means? Okay. Miss Propson, Lauren, is a licensed mortician, and that's what I wanted to say. I'm losing my train of thought because I'm so sleepy. Imagine being the judge that does not know about TikTok, and they get all of these weird names like Lauren the Mortician, Caffeinated Kitty. The judge is probably like, what the hell is going on? What's going on, guys? Okay, let me jump into it. All right, here we go. Miss Propson is a licensed mortician and operates a social media account known publicly as Lauren the Mortician. The Propson posts social media videos and commentary that brings awareness about common safety issues causing DEATH. Her content provides light-hearted and educational videos that discuss disappearing. I guess you don't disappear, but I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube. And the loss of loved ones and demystifying occupations and professions that work with unalived persons. In her social media career, Ms. Propson amassed millions of followers on the social media platform TikTok, as well as sponsorships and monetization of her videos. Of these sponsorship deals, Ms. Propson was sponsored in a brand partnership with a famous documentary channel. Ooh, what channel? Defendant Casey is a social media personality publicly known as Caffeinated Kitty. Defendant Casey describes herself as a villain life coach, teaching people how to be villains near you. I don't know what her slogan is, but that would be cute. On or about October 24, 2023, Defendant Casey published a video of herself to TikTok where she made statements about Miss Propson and identified her by public persona Lauren the Mortician. In the October 24, 2023 video, Defendant Casey accused Ms. Propson of being transphobic and a TERF. What does that mean? Because she liked posts by a conservative social media personality who is in a gay relationship. TERF, they're going to tell us, is a derogatory slur for feminist groups and a highly offensive term. Okay. I mean, I don't understand it, but I've never heard of this word. TERF is an acronym for trans. Oh, okay. That's why it would be derogatory. Trans exclusionary radical feminist, which is a term used to refer to or describe an advocate of radical feminism who does not believe that transgender people's gender identities are legitimate and who is hostile to the inclusion of trans women in the feminist movement. There's the definition from the dictionary. The below images are screenshots from the October 27, 2023 video post where defendant KZ accuses Miss Propson of being a TERF and transphobic. All right, here we go. Lauren the Mortician is a not her having the captions pop up on the video so they can just screenshot exactly what she's saying without actually having the video. There's an unfriendly reminder. We see transphobic. So we're saying transphobic that ain't bullying. It's an astute, it's an astute observation. Someone boondocks, not you citing the boondocks. She cited the boondocks. Okay. And she goes on to say, "Bi people can also be transphobic." I don't know if I can say transphobic on YouTube, but here we are saying it. That's from her video. In explaining her reasoning for her accusation, defendant Casey stated that she was not accusing Ms. Propson of being transphobic because Ms. Propson has a large fan base and following, but because people were confusing Ms. Propson's Lauren the Mortician persona with defendant Casey Caffeinated, which I don't think they look alike. The only thing that can really be confusing is like the bright hair colors, but even they don't even have the same hair color. Hers is purple. I don't know if it was pink before. The only reason why I'm saying anything about it is because I'm getting confused with her. So she's saying she does not support what Lauren the Mortician is doing. Again, a lot of this arose out of Lauren the Mortician, as far as my knowledge of it, arose out of Lauren the Mortician kind of allegedly attacking the child safety guy who teaches you about like good car seats, and her basically saying he's not qualified to tell us this when he is actually certified and has been doing it for years. While on the other hand, she is a mortician and not certified, or I guess she was in the process. I don't know if she has become certified, but at the time she was not certified to basically tell you install car seats, how to use them. But she said since she's a mom and she had kids, she basically has more knowledge than him, allegedly, as far as choosing safe car seats for children. And I see the comments coming in crazy. Appreciate the interaction with the video, y'all. Keep it going. But we're going to get through the complaint first before we jump into the comments. Okay, let's see where we are here. Along with a video, defendant Casey announced that she compiled a list of links to posts that Ms. Propson liked containing transphobic and hateful rhetoric. She went ahead and cited who she's liking, which is the conservaviant. We're not going to read what he wrote there. If y'all want to see it, let me know. Upon information and belief, none of the videos defendant Casey linked contained transphobic or hateful rhetoric. Upon information and belief, defendant Casey's motive and intent behind these posts were to tarnish and damage Ms. Propson's reputation. Due to Ms. Propson's following and fame, the allegation that she is transphobic spread quickly throughout the internet and became the source of multiple posts, comments, and blog articles. I'm not even mad at them for filing this lawsuit because I have not been seeing Lauren the Mortician's content. Maybe because my algorithm changed on TikTok because of the things that I was watching, but I really don't see her popping up anymore. And I definitely never even seen the kitty girl. So whatever. Okay. Due to Ms. Propson's following and fame, the allegation that she is transphobic spread quickly and throughout the internet and became the source of multiple posts, comments, and blog articles. The impact of this allegation caused Ms. Propson immediate and irreparable harm to her reputation. Specifically, Ms. Propson lost numerous followers. Learn how to read. Specifically, Ms. Propson lost numerous followers, her contract with a famous and popular documentary channel, and a podcast deal that she was in negotiation. And a podcast deal that was in negotiation. Jeez, that sucks. Sorry about it, but it is what it is. I don't know. I don't feel bad for them at this point, but let's go on. Defamatory statements against Jeanette and Brown Law by defendant KC PKA Caffeinated Kitty. Along with a video, defendant KC used screenshots of comments that were authored by Ms. Propson to engage with her fans. These comments included original opinions and thoughts that did not relate to or support the allegations that Ms. Propson was transphobic. Ms. Probson hired attorney Jeanette Braun to assist her with copyright infringement claims by filing a Digital Millennium Copyright Act complaint to the social media platform hosting the video. I thought you could literally just press a button and say this infringes on my copyright. Like you wrote in like a full-on motion to TikTok. I thought you could literally just click a button. I could be wrong. On YouTube, you could just click a button, give your explanation, and move on. But writing a whole complaint, thought the complaint was the clicking of the buttons. I could be wrong. I never tried to copyright infringe anyone, okay? Attorney Braun filed a DMCA complaint to the social media company Meta regarding the use of copyrighted material on defendant's KC post on Facebook that copied Ms. Probson's copyright protectable material. What material? Her opinions as a screenshot? The DMCA complaint and request for removal of the content was limited to just the post identified. So she only reported that one post. Following the DMCA complaint being filed, the platform agreed with Ms. Probson's claim and approved the DMCA removal request. On November 4, 2023, Meta removed defendant Casey's post that copied her copyrighted material. Upon information and belief on or about November 4, 2023, defendant Casey's entire Facebook account was locked by Meta and defendant Casey could not access it. On or around November 4th, 2023 to November 5th, 2023, in TikTok story posts following Meta locking defendant's Casey account, because remember, Facebook Meta does not own TikTok. Defendant Casey posted various videos where she appeared irrational and engaging in erratic behavior, such as threatening people online through various social media platforms. A TikTok story post is a brief video on the platform that remains visible for 24 hours or until the user decides to delete it. And typically, once the 24 hours expires, the post is not republished or reposted or republished. Plaintiffs were concerned about defendants. Plaintiffs were concerned about defendant Casey's mental health. You actually admitted this in the complaint, and safety, which prompted them to call a wellness check. So it just says them, doesn't say which one called, which prompted them to call a wellness check to defendant Casey's local non-emergency hotline. Defendant Casey used her social media accounts to express her anger and resentment of plaintiff Jeanette Braun and her law firm. On or about November 13, 2023, counsel for defendant Casey contacted attorney Braun to engage in a discussion about the copyright infringement report and were in settlement discussions. On or about November 21st, 2023, while settlement discussions were still ongoing, defendant Casey posted a video accusing Ms. Probson of using attorney Braun to file bad faith copyright claims with social media platforms. So they tried to work it out via settlement, and they're saying Kitty just came online and started talking mess all over again. In bad faith copyright strikes, they screenshotted her again. They love the screenshots. In the same video, defendant Casey accused attorney Braun of filing bad faith copyright infringement strikes against defendant Casey. As of the filing of this complaint, the video identified above was viewed approximately 928,000 times. It might be at 1 million now. On November 25, 2023, defendant Casey posted the same video again on TikTok as of December 14, 2023. The second posting has received over 263,000 views, which is over 1 million now, and published it through the link at this link. Reposting the tea since a lot of people are claiming they can't see the original anymore. This is messy. Okay, upon information and belief, defendant Casey receives compensation from TikTok based on the number of views a video receives, and thus is profiting from her posts that spread the false statements about attorney Braun or Ms. Probson that are described in the complaint. She could potentially be getting money, or the video could be demonetized. We don't know. Upon information and belief on or around November 21st, 2023, defendant Casey created a page on the donation platform called GoFundMe. On the GoFundMe page, defendant Casey revealed attorney Braun's name and identity by posting a portion of attorney Braun's cease and desist letter. Are you not an attorney? You can literally look up your information. You have a business. You can literally look up who you are, unless your LLC is under someone else's name. She published my information. I mean, I guess they could publish like her office address, but again, she's an attorney with a business, and you can look up attorneys online. I mean, I guess it could be considered doxing, but is it doxing if it's public information? I don't know. On or around December 8, 2023, defendant Casey published her email response to Attorney Braun and falsely claiming that Attorney Braun filed a false copyright claim and that she was a fan of Lauren the Mortician that was not actually retained to be Ms. Probson's attorney. Upon information and belief, defendant Casey knowingly published these statements after learning that Attorney Braun was in fact retained by Ms. Probson. The below screenshot is an accurate copy of the GoFundMe page. Kitty is a spiteful see you next Tuesday. Why did she post that? Do y'all want me to read what she posted? The email I sent in response to the copyright claim reminder that the following post indicated I was ensuring I was legally doing what was correct before whistleblowing. Also, according to her, call the police. Jeanette wants to report this to the FBI. My reading of this is coming soon. False. Subject line, false copyright claim. I've reached out to the owner of the video you had taken down for the copyright, and she confirmed she did not have any issue with me reposting of her content, as I explicitly asked for her permission beforehand and still maintained it. My team and I would love further details on your client and how the video had grounds for a copyright strike, as it clearly falls under fair use under the fair use doctrine of the U.S. copyright statute. It is permissible to use limited portions of the work, including quotes, for purposes such as commentary, criticism, news reporting, blah, blah, blah. She was news reporting. Yeah. So I'm not going to read the whole letter. She hired an attorney to help her out, blah, blah, blah. Not going to read the whole letter, but I don't know exactly what the post was. Was it the one that I just scrolled by earlier? I don't know. I wasn't paying that much attention. But if she's making commentary on it and she's talking about what's sent to her, sure, she could have highlighted certain portions and only used that. But is it copyright infringement? No, she's not passing it off on her own. And one thing I will note is that with these copyright strikes, with these social media platforms, is that they are very easy to get. So the point that they pointed out that, TikTok agreed with us and issued the DMCA and took the video down, or Meta agreed with us with the DMCA, those are very easy to get. And like I said, I don't know if it's every platform, but some platforms just use computers to look at that stuff. So just because someone's talking about you, making commentary about you, is not a copyright infringement. But I digress. Let's go on. Let's see what else is going on in here. All right. Defamatory statements made by defendant Rebecca Day Box. So we're on to another defendant. Defendant Day is a social media content creator known as Becca Day, who holds herself out to be an unbiased content creator and an independent investigative reporter. Upon information and belief, defendant Day has no professional training or degree in journalism. What they say is allegations and shade. She has no personal training or degree in journalism. Upon information and belief, the below screenshot is an accurate copy of defendant Day's LinkedIn profile as of the filing of the complaint. Oh, she's pretty. She got 700,000 connection on TikTok. Becca hasn't posted yet. She's a content creator, self-employed since January 2021 for 3 years in Kansas City, Missouri. Upon information and belief, defendant Day creates content that disparages public figures and other celebrities that she monetizes for income on TikTok. Disparages really, because she's just talking about people. I guess she's talking about them in a negative light, according to this complaint. Upon information, it's legal conclusion, okay? Upon information and belief, defendant Day receives compensation from TikTok based on the numbers of views on videos she receives, and thus is profiting from her posts and spreads the false statement about Attorney Braun and Ms. Propson that are described in this complaint. During her social media career, Ms. Day has been accused of posting false and untrue statements about public figures, such as Grammy Award-winning musician Diplo and other prominent social media personalities. Diplo says, "Hi, Becca. Would you like to discuss your recent post about my biography? A lot of it is untrue, and I'm not sure if you know, but Shelly has been proven a liar at every time, and the second allegations of the R word was blank, blank, blank." Okay, I think I've seen her content before now that I'm thinking about it. I'm pretty sure I've seen this girl's content. All right. On November 23rd, defendant Day made content regarding defendant Casey's claims about Ms. Propson and Attorney Braun. Upon information and belief, defendant Day did not conduct any investigation that involved fact-checking or reaching out to knowledgeable parties to verify the information in her post. Defendant Day never contacted the plaintiffs to verify the information in her post. Defendant Day created and posted videos stating the false claim that Attorney Braun files false copyright strikes, is unethical, and is a rogue attorney. Some of which are shown below. And so that's one of the reasons why I don't go into like the cases that we cover. It has legal documents, has cases actually filed. That's one of the reasons why I don't just cover celebrity teas and all of the things, because those things are interesting. But a lot of it is speculation, gossip, unprovable, all of the things, right? How Kevin Hart is filing that lawsuit with the thing that the girl said on Tasha K's show. So I don't think it's good to just kind of see a video posted and be like, oh, let me hop on this because someone did Lauren the Mortician wrong, or someone, Attorney Braun is doing somebody wrong. Yeah. So it's hard when you're like a T channel, investigative channel, allegedly, but it's more of a T channel at that point. Becca Day says, reply to your comment. I posted proof on my page that your legal name is attached to the false copyright strikes. Don't know why you're behaving like this on the internet. Attorney Braun is unethical and files false copyright strikes. She says, because they were allegedly involved in Dempsey's Snark group. Becca Day says, there are a group of creators on this app who have weaponized Jeanette's aggressive, threatening, and unethical tactics to scare creators off the app. I have a list of creators who have utilized Jeanette and another list of creators who have been wrongfully impacted by false copyright strikes sent in by Jeanette. This is just the beginning. Shocked and applauded to see women mutuals with hiring this woman to do their dirty work. 'Tis the season of exposing, I suppose. Is anyone, let me know in the chat, is anyone on the plaintiff side, on Jeanette and Lauren the Mortician side? Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. We are at 42 likes with 22 people watching live. Shout out to the people that are continuing to watch live, and shout out to everyone that hit the like button. We have surpassed the stream goal. So should we up it? Should we up it to 50 at this point? We're at 42 likes. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the live stream chat. And shout out to everyone watching on replay that is also hitting the like button. But we're looking at the real-time likes, so we'll shout y'all out again later on. A shout out to the chat. Let's jump back into it. Attorney Braun is a rogue attorney. In a since deleted video from TikTok, defendant Day stated her intent to ruin Braun's career as a social media lawyer. But I just wanted to make it very clear that my position is to ensure that there is not a rogue attorney on this app. Harassment campaign against former clients. Upon information and belief, defendant Day is using the above false statements to incite an angry mob and harassment campaign against Attorney Braun's past clients that are social media influencers. My thing is the court taking this serious? Like, this sounds like baloney. It sounds ridiculous that we are in court over this. Over TikTok. But I mean, TikTok is a legitimate career path at this point, right? It's a legitimate career path. But is the judge confused as to why this is in their courtroom? Because I would be as an attorney. I mean, I would be as a judge. Defendant Day's harassment campaign has had a detrimental effect on Attorney Braun's former client and caused emotional distress and harm. How are you suing on behalf of them? They're not in the complaint. So how are you talking on their behalf? In particular, Defendant Day has focused her criticism on Attorney Braun for her past representation of her client, Caitlin Dempsey, PKA Demps. Upon information and belief, Defendant Day communicated with a known stalker and harasser of Dempsey named Erica Fisk. Miss Dempsey has an active order of protection against Miss Fisk to stop her from stalking and harassing Miss Dempsey and her young child. Miss Dempsey's child is protected by the order of protection. Upon information and belief, Defendant Day also communicated with Christian Williams, who is a known associate of Miss Fisk and works with her to harass Dempsey. Why am I laughing? Miss Williams told Defendant Day about Miss Dempsey's order of protection. Upon information and belief, Defendant Day contacted Miss Dempsey after communicating with Miss Fisk and Miss Williams, while knowing that Miss Dempsey had an order of protection against Miss Fisk in part to protect her young child. Upon information and belief, Defendant Day posted a video about Miss Dempsey after communicating with Miss Williams to assist Miss Williams and Miss Fisk with continuing to harass Miss Dempsey. And I forgot if I actually finished my question. Let me know if anybody is on the side of the... Oh, I did. Let me know if anyone is on the side of the plaintiffs. Okay, let's see. Okay, harassment campaign against Attorney Braun and Braun Law. In a TikTok story post, Defendant, y'all was stalking her page, but okay. In a TikTok story post, Defendant Day created and posted a story on TikTok stating that the Illinois Attorney Registration and Disciplinary Commission told her they received multiple credible complaints about Jeanette Braun and they have assigned multiple attorneys to investigate the matter. Is that not true? Just got confirmation from the Illinois Attorney Registration and Disciplinary Commission that they have received multiple credible complaints about Jeanette Braun, and they have assigned multiple attorneys to investigate in this matter. I have an attorney representing me locally in Illinois now to ensure this woman is stopped. Enough, is what she posted. The Attorney Registration and Disciplinary Commission is the governing body overseeing and regulating the conduct of attorneys. The ARDC operates under authority in Illinois Supreme Court, which has sole authority to regulate the admission and discipline of lawyers in Illinois. All attorney investigations are confidential until the commission brings a complaint against the attorney. Yeah, so if they haven't brought the complaint, really, Ms. Braun wouldn't even know if there's an investigation against her until they actually bring that up. So her saying that someone in the office told her, and it could have just been an inexperienced like assistant or something that told her, but I don't know. I find that hard to believe that someone just on the phone told her that they're investigating her, told the defendant that they're investigating her. Upon information and belief, the ARDC does not comment or provide input on the merits of the investigation to anyone calling to inquire about a registered attorney. Upon information and belief, the Illinois Attorney Registration and Disciplinary Commission would only confirm whether or not the attorney in question was registered, convey the date they were registered, share if the attorney is in good standing, and share if the attorney has ever been found to have engaged in misconduct. They wouldn't necessarily say, oh yeah, we're investigating that girl. Yeah, she is in trouble. Yeah, they're not going to do that. As of the filing of this complaint, Attorney Braun is an attorney in good standing and has zero misconduct violations on her record with the Illinois Attorney Registration and Disciplinary Commission. I like how she said upon filing this complaint because there might be one coming. She knows that there may be one coming. If it's not already under investigation, there might be one coming. Defamatory statements made by defendant Jessica Vasquez and Lily Martin. Upon information and belief, defendant Vasquez and defendant Martin are co-owners and co-hosts of the Do We Know Them podcast. The Do We Know Them podcast is online weekly video podcast that is also disseminated through various audio platforms where defendant Vasquez and defendant Martin promote online controversies, rumors, and celebrity gossip, all of which are monetized. Upon information and belief, Neither defendant Vasquez or defendant Martin have any professional training as a news reporter, journalist, or any degrees in those industries or related to one. So they're basically trying to be like, Lauren is a licensed mortician, Jeanette is a licensed attorney, and all of these other people have no degrees or qualifications. That's basically what they're saying, but I digress. Upon information and the belief, defendant Vasquez and Martin did not conduct any investigation that involved fact-checking or outreach to knowledgeable parties to verify information in her post. Okay. They could have verified it through Kitty, who actually received the letter. Defendant Vasquez and Martin did not contact plaintiffs. They don't have to contact the plaintiffs to verify the information in their posts prior to publishing them. In November 2023, and it might also indicate that they did not know it was false because they didn't ask. Defendant Vasquez and defendant Martin began posting several videos discussing the dispute between defendant KC and the plaintiffs. In the videos, the defendant Vasquez and Martin expressed a strong contempt for Ms. Probson and Attorney Braun. In the videos, defendant Vasquez and Martin mocked Attorney Braun by mispronouncing her name as Janet instead of Jeanette. Defendant Vasquez and Martin identified Attorney Braun by her full name and expressly noted that they intentionally mispronounced her name because it was fun, but that they are still referring to Attorney Braun. In detailing defendant Casey's dispute with the plaintiffs, defendant Vasquez and Martin published statements about Attorney Braun's client and her legal practice. Again, I don't really feel any sympathy as far as like disclosing her actual name and her practice because she is an attorney that anybody can literally find online. It would not be hard. Okay, let's see. In the videos, defendant Vasquez and Martin stated that reputable and known content creators hire Attorney Braun to represent them and take down videos that use their likeness and photographs without their permission. Without discussing the full context of any specific post or takedown, defendant Martin stated that Attorney Braun's practices are unethical. So that might be valid. Following the comment, defendant Martin and defendant Vasquez discussed Attorney Braun's other clients to remove posts that misuse their intellectual property and images. Following this, defendant Vasquez stated Attorney Braun is unethical. They said, is that as unhinged as Jeanette is as unethical as Jeanette is? Okay. Upon information and belief, defendant Martin continued to make false accusations and accused Attorney Braun of unethical behavior on various platforms. In a since removed post, defendant Martin made further accusation and referenced Attorney Braun through a past client and accused her of actively committing perjury. The claims are wild. Lily Martin says, I gotta say, one of our biggest questions in all of this is, do we think Dimps knows that her embarrassing excuse of a lawyer is using her name while actively committing perjury? Someone might want to tell her. With 133 views. Such public defamation. I mean, all you have to do is spread it to one person, but yeah, 33 views on that tweet. Not a very viewed tweet at that time. Damage to reputation. Why can't I talk? Damage to reputation and harm to Braun law and attorney Jeanette Braun. As a direct result of the false and defamatory statements made by defendant Casey and defendant Dave Vasquez and Martin, an angry internet mob was incited to further echo and spread the collective false statements that Ms. Probson is transphobic, Ms. Braun is unethical, Ms. Braun files false copyright claims, Attorney Braun is a rogue attorney. People came to her comments and said that. The posts and comments published by defendants caused their various fans and followers to post negative and one-star reviews against Attorney Braun and Braun Law to harm its reputation. And one thing that I found out is that Google is going to start allowing like an appeals process, especially when people do get these one-star reviews based on things that people say on the internet, which I think is actually a good move because no matter how ridiculous someone is being and how you don't agree with whatever they're doing, to then go put one-star one stars on their actual business when it has not affected you, you have not worked with them, all of the things, I think that's completely inappropriate. So I think it's smart that Google is coming out with a way to kind of dispute these cyber attacks on people businesses. And I think they would be easier to prove because a lot of times it's like a bunch of negative comments at one, right? It's not just one negative review here and one negative review there. If you have a flood of negative reviews, I think it's reasonable for Google to be able to take those down once you report it, which we know, according to this lawsuit, she's good at reporting things. So I'm sure she would get it reported. Okay. In addition, fans and followers of defendants search for, contacted, and harassed Ms. Braun's known and suspected social media clients. As a direct result of the negative attention from the defendant's false statements, Attorney Braun lost a potential client due to fear of being harassed for using Attorney Braun's legal services. In addition to the above statement, fans and followers of the defendants are encouraging others to file ARDC complaints against Attorney Braun. So, like she said, as of now, there's no investigation, but there might be coming up. The continued spread and reposting of these false statements against Attorney Braun and Braun Law caused damages and irreparable reputational harm on a daily basis. They go ahead and prove for the defamation, all of the things. We're not going to go through all of that. Jeez Louise, that scrolled so fast. Okay. Benjamin Lockyer of Lockyer Law LLC, which apparently you could do LLCs for your law corporation in Illinois, which I don't think is that cool. But anyways, they allow it, is the attorney. So I didn't think it made sense for her to represent them themselves or for her. What was I saying? I didn't think it makes sense for Braun to represent them. That would not be a good idea. So she has a separate attorney. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I think it's BS. I mean, could they potentially win? I mean, to say she's a rogue attorney, that sounds like opinion to me. Braun commits perjury, that would be defamation. False copyright claims, yeah, that would be defamation. You can prove it true or not true. But I guess, I mean, like I said, even Facebook approving it or TikTok approving it doesn't necessarily mean it's an accurate copyright claim, because are we going to have to argue copyright law in this trial to prove that it was a false copyright claim? Just because Meta approved it or TikTok approved it doesn't mean it's a valid copyright claim. Saying that she's unethical probably can be proven. And then whether Lauren the Mortician is transphobic, that's all she's really being defamed for, according to this lawsuit. I guess that's provable, or it could be opinion. I don't know. What do you guys think? We are at 48 likes, y'all. Thank you so much for that. If you haven't already, please do hit the like button. It helps us reach our new goal of 50 likes for the live stream. Okay, let me go ahead and jump into the chat and see what the chat had to say about this lawsuit. It just seems dumb to me. Could they potentially have a claim? Sure. But is this something? I'm sure, like, her reputation is probably ruined. It probably is ruined, to tell you the truth. But I don't know. I feel like I want to look up her page now. Let me see. Braun. What is her name? Braun IP. Is she still okay? Here we go. Braun Law. Let's go. She still has 47,000 followers. Lightning in a bottle legal services, not legal advice. So she's still on here making content. Well, she stopped on December 31st was her last post. So she's still on here making content. So Good for her, I guess. Let me go ahead and jump into the chat and see what the chat has to say. Go ahead and put your comments, y'all. We got 57 comments to go through. So if you haven't already put your comment, go ahead and drop it in there. Let me know what you guys think about the case. Let's see here. Chelsea says, when I'm tired or distracted, I will completely forget what I was talking about or what point I was trying to make. Oh, I think I already read that one earlier. Yeah, that's me too. Cheryl C says to Tiny D, and she had 0 patience from Poot. Haha. I don't know exactly what you're referring to there. Tiny says Bossy the Bee. Yes, Bossy the Bee is in the house. Black and Six says, Kay, we're over 30 now for sure. Thank you very much. Kimmy Locker says Bunny XO is believed to have introduced Jeanette Braun to a lot of people. There's a longer story / explanation I can't fit in YouTube character limits. LOL. Thank you, Kimmy. Yeah, so this is just the lawsuit. There's so much other drama surrounding it. I don't know all the names of all the people and all of the things that are going on, but it's definitely a rabbit hole that you can be dropped into that Kimmy got sucked into earlier. So yeah, this is just probably surface level of what's going on, and maybe speculation, in my opinion, is trying to make an example out of these people so that they don't continue to file, complaints and harass, or not harass, but kind of make comments about what's going on. Small says, yo, this is going to be my fave case of 2024. You think so? I just like, she was literally like, they are broke. They don't have no licenses, no training, whatever. So you need to believe me because I'm an attorney. That's what I feel like this complaint looked like. Small says, the attorney is wild. I think she's going to end up disbarred. I think so too. And I think this is probably, in my opinion, her last ditch effort to say, hey, these people are lying on me, California bar. Look, a judge found that they lied on me, or we entered into a settlement of them admitting that they lied on me. So please do not take these claims as serious as they're making it. Chris Mullen says, you could be also breed, though, an attorney to the people. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get into trouble. Thank you, Chris. I think I'm cool too, but yeah, it seems too much work for me. I just like gossiping online on legal cases. I don't want to copyright strike people. Small says, I vote Tyler Chu, the creator's attorney. Yeah, of course, Tyler too. Yeah, I'm not calling her Tyler too, but like Tyler also. Yeah, she can definitely do it. She would be a cooler lawyer for sure, in my opinion. Cheryl C says, morticians prepare remains for funeral and or cremation. They are not coroners or medical examiners. They don't have medical degrees or make investigative determinations, etc. Exactly. Now, what she would talk about is, sure, I have seen people come to my mortician because of these reasons, because this is the story that I was given. However, she is not the one specialized to make determinations of whether something is safe is not. She has just seen people become unalive for doing certain dumb things, or maybe not so dumb things. Are there anomalies? Are there like things that happen that may not happen all the time? Sure, but can we call her an expert in unalived people? Probably not. She just prepares them for their funeral, right? Small says she was already a Hollywood attorney and she's also a creative. Talking about Tyler Chu, yes. Tiny says, I don't know anything about this case. What do you think so far? Now that you've learned some things about the case, Tanya, what do you think? Kimmy Locker says, strap in to Tanya D. Kimmy Locker says, Smalls, we have you to thank for this lawsuit, which is easily my favorite case / situation that we've covered in a while. Yeah, I think it's going to get deep. I will be very surprised if this does not settle without a trial. I would be very surprised. Small says to Kimmy Locker, me, what I do? Kimmy says, I heard about the case through you. Chris Mullen says, oh, is this the lawyer's case or Lauren's case, or are they one and the same? It's both of their case. So they're both, so Lauren, the mortician, is listed as a plaintiff. Jeanette Braun is listed as a plaintiff, and then also the Braun law firm is listed as a plaintiff. So technically, there's 3 plaintiffs in the case. Small says, yeah, I watched to Kimmy Locker. Yeah, I watched Do We Know Them? So I've been following this mess from the very, very beginning. This is not on my 2024 bingo card, bruh, but she is bluffing hard. As far as the attorney, I don't think it's a good case. Could some things possibly be proven true or false? Sure. But are we going to be able to prove that? Well, they may get under the normal standard, which would be negligence, unless we can prove that these people are celebrities, and we have to prove that it was intentional in knowing. But defamation for non-famous people, which defamation on this channel we've been covering is for famous people, so they have that higher standard. But if they can prove that they are not famous people with a mass following, especially for Lauren the Mortician, but for Braun, she could probably prove that she's not a celebrity. Will they be able to meet the standard? Kimmy Locker says, by the way, Jessica Vasquez is also known as Jessie Smiles. I don't know why that wasn't included in the complaint. I don't know either. I also didn't know that. Small says, yep, and I'm glad they had the courtesy to leave Jesse's trauma out of this. They still mentioned it though, but luckily they didn't go deep into it. Small says, OMG, I love Bossy the Bee. Yes. Kimmy Lockett says she's not bossy, she's the boss. Talking about our pet bee. Small says, I've been calling them buddy for alliteration, so bossy is way better. Yeah, that word, buddy or bossy to be. Henry Smith says Vasquez is amount. Oh, is it Vasquez? Vasquez? Sorry, I already read it. Sorry if I messed it up. Cheryl C says, I like Boss B better in my opinion, but I'm down either way. Love it. Kimmy Locker says Phoebe Bossy. Phoebe Bossy, or is it Phoebe Bossy? Phoebe, right? Phoebe Bossy. Small says, oh, there's a lot of typos and no, another attorney filed it. Thank you, Small. Tell Swanky. Just me, MD, started following the rabbit hole last week, and it's all over the place. Definitely, there's so much going on with the case. Like, this is literally just a complaint. With everything else going on in the case, it just gets wilder and wilder. Small says, not me trying to figure out what the it's an abbreviation. Don't worry. You're all good. Kitty Poe says, pretty sure that's true about stuttering as far as thinking faster than you talk. Makes sense. Kitty Poe, oh, I think I already got that one. Small says, turf transphobic feminist, and it is not a slur. Like, if you are, like, is it a slur to call someone racist? That's basically what they're saying. Oh, it's a slur because you support bad things. So yeah, no. Kimmy Locker says, just me, MD. I went down the rabbit hole today within the scope and context of the complaint, and that was deep and crazy. So I'm excited to dive some more. I mean, as more documents come out, we can, but like I said, I don't like covering things that are just articles. Small says, you should be fine, LOL. I watch a number of creators who say transphobic all the time. Okay, thank you. I was like, can I say that online? Just me, MD says, sorry, Braun has too much time on her hands. She spends a lot of time allegedly getting other TikToks and YouTube pages accounts shut down, post removed. Yeah, it happened to the child safety guy too. His whole account got taken down. Why they didn't sue him? Because I'm sure he said some things because they know they were wrong. Kimmy Locker says billable time though. Yeah, or she could be charging large flat fees because it doesn't take so long to do a DMCA notice. I'm getting stuffy again, y'all. I'm not sick anymore, but I still have like the stuffiness. The Small says, yep, a lot of great promo for everyone involved as far as the case goes. Small says, I don't believe that for one sec, that she lost a major deal already in negotiations. I don't know. I feel like she was becoming very popular because I used to watch her stuff when it came across my feed. So I wouldn't be surprised that if she was in like a podcast negotiation. It is a podcast. That's not super. I mean, I guess it can be lucrative, but it's not like super big to where she was going to be featured in a documentary or something like that. She said she had a sponsorship from a documentary channel, but does not say anything about her actually being featured. Just Me MD says to Kimmy Locker, felt like I needed a flow chart to flow the drama, then made myself leave it alone because it was taking up too much of my time. I believe that, and emotions. Believe that too. Kimmy Locker says, I can make charts and such for the stream. That would be helpful if you have the time, but I know it's a lot. Melanie Williams says, this is such a crazy circus. CC Suarez has a video with a full breakdown of all of Jeanette's online takedowns. Cece is another creator she's gone after for covering this. Yes, that's whose videos that I watched last week or two. So yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. Small says, if they sent the police to my house, I'm going to be the one suing. Exactly. False claims. False claims of her needing help. Wicked Witch of the Heartland, love the name, saying they both called for a welfare check. Caffeinated Kitty played them on the TikTok. Okay, I remember there being multiple calls, but I didn't know it was for the same person. Small says, can we play/watch a couple of the TikToks? I don't know. I don't want to get copyright striked. Just Me MD says, I listened to some of those calls, and in my opinion, it was a waste of resources and made out of spite, not true concern for the well-being of others. I remember one of the recordings was like, okay, and do you know this person? And they're like, no. They're like, no, but I know her from online. I know her from her online personality, and she's not acting the same. You don't know her then. Melanie Williams says not yet, but she has 2 strikes on her YouTube channel now and challenge her to sue. That's bad. That's wrong. Small said def not doxing, LOL, as far as the address for the attorney. Wicked Witch of the Heartland says the 911 operators sound like they thought Lauren and Jeanette were wasting resources. Yeah, I remember hearing that call where it did sound like they're like, do you know her? You don't know her? Why are you calling? Kimmy Locker says, I tracked down all of the videos, links, audios, docs, posts, etc. that are referenced in the complaint so the Beehive can see them for themselves. It's too much to go through it all tonight, but I can make a PowerPoint for Thursday if so desired. Love it. And I'm happy to share some stuff tonight if we got time. Yeah, it'll probably have to be on the next stream because we're already 2 hours in and your girl is barely keeping her eyes open and I have recordings to do, y'all. I finally went through the information on the Love is Blind contract. I was planning on recording it today, but I don't think I can because I'm going to be here all night. If I try to record that tonight, my energy is not there. So that will probably be coming out at the end of the week or over the weekend. Yeah, that's probably when it's going to come out. So there's that. Gabrielle George says one of her clients says Janet took actions on her behalf without her permission. So rogue attorney doesn't seem wrong. And again, I feel like that's going to be proven. That's going to have to be an opinion. I don't know if they can use that as a fact. How are we going to determine if she's rogue or not, right? What is a rogue attorney? You know, that's not like really a common thing to where we can kind of figure out what that is. Just Me MD says, it's a lot. I do wonder future-wise with cases like this that consumes a lot of resources and weaponizing the courts to fight petty and spiteful disagreements. That's what this feels like. Petty and spiteful disagreement, okay? She knows. In my opinion, those copyright strikes are wrong. That's my opinion about it. And I also know social media because I do social media. And I practiced IP law for a little while. Those are so easy to get. So them claiming that it's a false copyright claim, they can probably prove that it was false in court. But I digress. Okay. Just Me MD says, will the courts begin a filtering process to handle such cases? No, you're able to file your cases. They can deny it. People can move for summary judgment, all of the things, but I don't think they will succeed on anything like, you could do summary judgment during the case, but failure to state a claim to dismiss the case for failure to state a claim, I don't think they will be able to get past that because some of these things can be potentially fact. They may be able to get some of the things thrown out, like how do we prove a person is transphobic? Is that going to be opinion or is that going to be a fact? Right? Because you can easily say I'm not transphobic, but all of your actions result in you being transphobic. So is that going to be a consideration of a fact or an opinion? So some of the things like her filing false copyright claims that could potentially succeed or not succeed. They won't be able to throw that one out. That she commits perjury. They won't be able to throw that one out. Can you commit perjury when you're not under oath? No, you can't. So are they going to probably lose on the commit perjury? Probably depending on what they're claiming she was committing perjury on. So, yeah, I don't think they will be able to just throw this case out. They may be able to get rid of some of the claims in it, but not completely throw it out before it gets to the judge. And y'all, you got to remember a lot of these complaints are filed. The judge does not review these when these are filed. You literally just take it down to the clerk at the court. They stamp it. It's filed. You serve it. The courts normally do not even see these things until it's time to go to hearing. So, no, it's not a judge approving it. Chris Mullen says, oh my goodness, I missed a whole lot of this due to a work meeting. LOL, that's no problem. Happy to have you here. Tanya D says, we're at 46 likes, so we can make it to 50, y'all. Let's see if we made it. Yes, we have hit 51 likes. Shout out to the live stream. Definitely appreciate it. Gabrielle George says, putting the name pronunciation issue in the suit makes it clear that it bugs her. Not a smart strategy for a social media focused lawyer. It's petty. They were making fun of me. They were making fun of me and I feel defamed. Making fun of you is not defaming you. Calling you by the wrong name is not defamation. So I don't know what her point. I mean, guess to show that these people are spiteful and they're doing it on purpose, maybe. But making fun of your name or pronouncing your name wrong is not like a legal basis for suing. So yes, I agree with you. You can tell that she's annoyed with the fact that they say her name wrong. Chris Muller says, I am a bit confused. Is this different to the lawsuit Lauren launched? I might have missed some things while I was in the meeting. No, this is all one lawsuit. Basically, Lauren is only claiming defamation for the transphobic comment, and then all of the other claims, like her being an unethical lawyer, false copyright claims, rogue attorney, commits perjury, all of those are bronze. So they're just like co-plaintiffs, if that makes sense. They're not necessarily making the same claims, but they're co-plaintiffs. Wicked Witch of the Heartland says, I hope judge dismisses quickly. It has to go to trial for them to dismiss it, or they have to succeed on a failure to state a claim. Chris Muller says, oh, I did miss a lot. I will go back and catch up later. It's all good. Tanya D says, LOL, at not legal advice. I would trust anyone calling lightning in a bottle legal services anyway. Right. Not legal advice, which we all put it on there. Oh gosh, but not lightning legal services in a bottle. Yeah, you're right. Mary Malarkey says, I like the case info on the crawler. Very helpful. Thanks, Kimmy. Yes, of course. Gabrielle George says, read the cease and desist letter if you want a good laugh. I don't know if I have the cease and desist letter. Other than the one that the other attorney put on there. I don't know if I have it. Tiny says, ooh, 50 likes. Yes. Shout out to the Bree Hive. Love it. Chris Mullin says, accusing someone of being transphobic is one way to cancel someone you do not like. I can imagine that this may have happened to her also. It can make people very upset and angry, to put it mildly. Yes, I agree with that. But can we prove that it's a false statement? Remember, defamation, you have to prove that it's a false statement. how are we going to know if it's false, if she is transphobic or not, right? It's going to be up to the jury to decide whether they believe she's transphobic or not. Gabrielle George says the transphobic allegation was based on her Twitter likes. It's not as if Casey pulled it out of thin air, because she could have believed it to be true. If Casey believes it to be true, you probably won't be able to prove it. But just the allegations is enough to overcome the motion to dismiss on a basis for failure to state a claim. It's an opinion based on Lauren's public behavior. That's what I don't know if they can prove that. I don't know if that would be considered a fact, right? Chris Mullin says to Gabrielle George, I am aware, but the way it was presented by Casey and the mob that jumped on the bandwagon did whip it up into something a whole lot more than a simple like. There is fault on both sides. I agree that there is fault on both sides. However, it doesn't meet the legal standard. That's what we would have to pay attention to, or at least on this channel, that's what we would have to pay attention to. Gabrielle George says, what does that mean? I don't know. Casey was getting mistaken for Lauren, so I think part of her intention was to clarify that she isn't Lauren. But I also don't understand the point of having to call her transphobic. Or I'm not her; she's a transphobic person, and I am not. I don't get the purpose behind that one. I'm sorry, I don't. Kimmy Walker says, putting aside my opinions, putting aside any opinions I may have on the claims or parties themselves, I think a lot of content and actions are mischaracterized to varying degrees. Example, the portion of the cease and desist letter Casey posted that revealed Attorney Braun's name and identity only says Miss Braun and Attorney Braun in it, but doesn't include her first name, law firm's name, contact info, address, etc. Okay, good information, Kimmy. I didn't know that. Gabrielle George says to Kimmy, even if it did, is a cease and desist letter private? No. There's nothing private about a cease and desist letter. So it doesn't matter. She's a lawyer. If she put her letterhead on it, that's not private. So yeah, Gabrielle, good thing to point out. Kimmy Locker says to Gabrielle, cease and desist letters aren't confidential unless there's some sort of confidentiality agreement between the parties, which if they're telling you to cease and desist, there's probably not a confidentiality agreement between the parties. But that settlement discussion could have caused them to enter a contract into where there would be a confidential agreement between the parties. So good point, Kimmy. Chris Mullin says to Gabrielle George, oh, well, that sounds fair, but I get the impression that it got out of hand all around. Yeah, it does seem like it got out of hand. I don't condone like people becoming mobs and just like attacking someone. But honestly, if you suck, you suck. But I don't think people should like start to bully people, because they're already bullying people. So why are we stooping to their level, right? Gabrielle George says, I understand why the allegations upset her, but the way she handled it was terrible. I agree. Chris Mullin says to Gabrielle George, I do agree that calling in the welfare check was bad form and could have been extremely dangerous and gone terribly wrong. I agree with that. Okay, if I recall correctly, that makes sense. I would never have guessed that. Never have guessed it. All right, y'all. Let's see where we're at with our likes. We hit 51 likes. We still have 51. So thank you everyone for hitting the like button. Definitely appreciate it. Kimmy may come up with a PowerPoint for us to kind of go through all of the doxing things for next Thursday. I don't really know of any case to really cover next Thursday. So that may be a good thing for us to go through. Where are we at? Okay. So that may be a good thing for us to go through, and I don't really know what we're going to cover. Again, I'm supposed to tell y'all at the beginning of the stream about the member stream, but I haven't yet. But I'm still going to be posting it, working on our video with the contract of Love is Blind. And y'all, that thing is juicy. If you ever want to go on a love show, you might want to second guess it, at least if it's Love is Blind. Definitely appreciate everyone tuning in today. Make sure you let us know your thoughts in the comments, because your girl has to log off and go to bed. It's like 9:30 and I'm supposed to be staying up later to midnight now, but today I went to bed late last night and I'm super tired. But anyways, thank you everyone for joining me live, and I will see you all on the next live stream.